Hello friends, welcome to my channel My TSPSC Preparation. Yesterday we have seen about the era before Shatavahanas. Today we are going to study about Shatavahanas. Before jumping into this, if you find the information helpful to you, please do like, share, comment and subscribe to the channel or the page and keep following. Guys, I'm very happy to see the amount of energy you guys are putting in order to learn. Keep it going and keep reading. Coming to today's chapter, which we are going to look into, is the major part of the history in Telangana, that is Shatavahanas. Right, Shatavahanas is very crucial and very interesting dynasty that we will be seeing in our complete history apart from Kakatiyas and after Mauryan Empire. Right, so Shatavahanas, it started from 221 BC, but what is the exact period was not completely told. Like, people said that there is it could have been from one point to the other point, but completely no one was able to say. However, there was a historian who was specifically appointed to identify the era, that is the period. He, after doing analysis, he gave a conclusion saying that it is between 221 BC to 218 BC. So you can see almost a period of 500 years, right? So 221 to 0, this covers 221 years, and again 0 to 218, this covers almost all a period of 500 years, although it is 250 nearer to 500. So this has even exceeded the Mauryan period. Mauryan Empire, they have ruled, Mauryan dynasty, they have ruled almost a period of 200 years, but Shatavahanas is 500, which is huge number. With their ruling, they have actually helped our South India by stopping the inventions from foreign, by stopping the foreign inventions like the Greek and many other foreign invasions whichever happened. He stopped, he defended, who Shatavahanas defended from them entering into our south side, that is Dakshinapatha. Our South India is always known as Dakshinapatha. Dakshin means south, Path means route, Dakshinapatha, and the north side they term it as Aryavrata. So although foreigners were able to occupy Aryavrata, that is the northern part of India, they couldn't enter into south, that is Dakshinapatha, because of the strong power of the Shatavahanas. Right? So where all Shatavahanas have ruled, what is the territory? We are going to look into our upcoming slides, and we are going to understand what are the evidences we found about Shatavahanas, right? And in the upcoming videos we are going to learn about the ruling kings and their administration, political administration, their part of living, what is the religion they followed. All this we are going to look into. So let's get started. Let's look into the empire of Shatavahanas. Empire meaning territory. So what are the areas they have been covering? Let's see in the map. So you see, this is the India map. The areas which they have ruled is starting with Gujarat, Maharashtra, Bihar. This is to the north side, and coming to the Deccan side, it is Maharashtra, sorry, the earlier was Madhya Pradesh, and then Orissa, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka. So these are the areas ruled by Shatavahanas. When you are looking into the area part, you see, this is a huge area. This is covering almost half of India, right? And when you compare the area with that of Mauryan Empire, how much was the area was? Let me clear this off. The Mauryan Empire was extended until, you see, Telangana little they covered, and here completely they have covered, right? This was Mauryan Empire. So area wise you can say that it was just ranking in second position after Mauryas. That is why Shatavahanas is considered to be one of the greatest dynasties of all time. And then of course it is Kakatiyas, which also ruled for pretty much time. We are going to see that in the upcoming chapters, right? And Shatavahanas, they are the first historical rulers of the Deccan whose achievements in either your politics or religion or literature are commendable. Like, you must be talking, because their political administration is so beautiful. The towns they have managed so well, the literary works, the literature actually we have seen from that period. There have been kings who were actually writers, they were poets, and it depicts beautifully. Everything is beautifully portrayed, right? So now we understood the territory. Let me clear this off. Okay, what are the evidences which we found was the archaeological inscriptions, and then these inscriptions were also books and also coins, right? The inscription and the coins were included in the archaeological evidences. And coming to literary evidences, it was books written by very famous kings and also very famous poets during that time, and also foreign people who visited India. We have to know what are the foreign works, what are the Indian works, what are the Vedic works. All these works we have to know, and all this gives the sources of Shatavahanas. Starting with the north side, we have received Sanchi. In MP, we have Sanchi inscription, and in south Karnataka, we have Bellary inscription. In Madhya Pradesh, it is Sanchi. In Karnataka, it is Bellary. In Maharashtra, it is Kanheri. In Andhra Pradesh, it is Amravati. Amravati we can remember. Sanchi also we can remember because it is in MP. We can remember. Kanheri, Maharashtra. Bellary, you see, Karnataka is in a shape of kidney, right? So it refers to a part of human body, and belly also refers to a part of human body. That's how you can relate, and you can just remember. This is just for remembering sake. We do what not to remember things, right? So this is also one way we are going to take it together. So these whatever inscriptions we have found, those were written in Prakrit language or the Brahmi script. Okay, these were written in Prakrit language and Brahmi script. Other than these inscriptions, the famous inscriptions that we have is Naneghat, Kanheri, Nasik, Kalle and Guntupalli. These four are in Maharashtra, whereas Guntupalli is in Andhra. Correct? Guntupalli, Guntu sounds Telugu language, so it is in Andhra. That's how you can remember. Naneghat, this was written by Naganika. We are going to talk about Naganika, who she is and why she has written that inscription. Everything we are going to see. And one of the famous inscriptions which is not written here, that is Hathi Gumpa inscriptions. We are going to study about Hathi Gumpa inscription also. Earlier also we have seen Hathi Gumpa inscription in which empire? It is Mauryan Empire. That too, before Mauryas it was Mahapadmananda, right? The war between Kharavela and Mahapadmananda, it was written in Hathi Gumpa inscription. Moving forward, we will go in detail with Naneghat inscription of Naganika. Right, Naneghat inscription by Naganika. Naganika is the wife of Shatakarni I. You see the picture over here. This is the hierarchy basically I have shown here. It shows the complete Shatavahanas. If not complete, a part of Shatavahanas is hierarchy is written here. You see, the founder is Simukha. I have been telling this from my previous episodes. The founder of Shatavahanas is Simukha. Simukha's brother is Krishna, right? And son is Shatakanni I, and that's how the hierarchy goes. Shatakanni's one's period is between 180 to 170 BC. After he died, Naganika has written this inscription. She has written inscription mainly to collaborate, to make all the great achievements of her husband to be known to the society. That's why she has written the Naneghat inscription. Earlier, in mainly coming to the Shatavahana dynasty, the women, they have participated very actively and they were given much importance. Like Naganika and Gautami Putra Shatakanni's mother, Gautami Balashri. Here we have written, right? Gautami Balashri. She has also written an inscription for her son Gautami Putra Shatakanni. So the women of during that time, they have actively participated in writing inscriptions, we can say. Anyways, in this inscription, she has written greatly about her husband, saying that he conquered Malwa, Anupa and Narmada Valley, on the Narmada Valley and Vidarbha also. So these are all on the Maharashtra side, correct? And then he has also performed Ashwamedha and Rajasuya sacrifices. Ashwamedha means the killing of Ashwa. Ashwa is elephant, and also Rajasuya. It is not that easy to perform these sacrifices. Ashwamedha sacrifice, it means that you are the ultimate king. If you are saying that you are the ultimate king and no one is as great as you, then any king can give you invitation for declaring war. So that's why not many kings immediately go for sacrifices, but Shatakanni I has performed such Ashwamedha and Rajasuya sacrifices. And Shatakanni I assumed the titles of Dakshina Padatipati and Apratihata Chakra. Dakshina Padatipati. Dakshina means south. Padadipati means the ultimate ruler. Pada means foot. Pati means king. Ultimate ruler of Dakshina. Dakshina Padatipati. With this word Dakshina Padatipati, what we can say is he ruled the South Deccan part. It could be Eastern Deccan or Western Deccan. Deccan meaning, this is the map, right? The south part, like it will go like this. Sorry guys, my drawing is very very poor, but please try to cooperate. So this is the map. If you consider, then this will be the Deccan part, South Deccan part, correct? Now moving forward, we have understood here Naneghat inscription is written by Naganika. Main points: she was the wife of Shatakanni I, who conquered Malwa, Anupa, Narmada Valley and Vidarbha. He assumed the titles Dakshinadipati and Apratihata Chakra. So the main important thing we need to remember are the titles. Titles are important. Shatakanni important, Naganika important, and the inscription very very important. Okay, let's move forward. Hathigumpa and Guntapalli inscription. As we have known earlier, Hathigumpa inscription is issued by Kharavela. As per this inscription, it says that Kharavela king, he wanted to conquer the Godavari river and the Krishna river region. He wanted to have these basins to him. That's why he waged a war with Shatakarni I. He waged a war at Kannabenna place. It is today's Krishna river, but it is Kannabenna place, and he threatened, saying that it is going to take hold of Mushika Nagara. Mushika Nagara is a question here. People say that Mushika kingdom normally refers to Hyderabad. Earlier Mushika kingdom was known as Hyderabad, and many papers they use Mushika Nagara to refer Hyderabad, right? So this is all about Hathigumpa inscription. Coming to Guntapalli inscription, it has conflicted a little to the Hathigumpa inscription. What is it? We are going to see in the upcoming slides. In the photo you have Godavari river and the Krishna river. If you see the flow covering what all states, you can see it clearly in this area. Godavari covers Maharashtra, Telangana and a part of AP. Krishna covers Maharashtra, Telangana, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. Right? So Karavela wanted to have Godavari and Krishna river to himself, and that's why he waged a war at Kannabenna and he threatened Mushikanagara. These are the only points which we need to consider from the group's perspective. And if you ask me if they have got success or not, well, few say that he did not claim any success. Moving forward. Nasik inscription. Nasik inscription is given by Gautami Balashri, and in Nasik inscription, Gautami Balashri, she has written the greatness achieved by her son Gautami Putra Shatakarni and the successors like Pulamavi and so on. So she has written all the greatness of their sons in the Nasik inscription. If you look into the hierarchy to my right, you can see Gautami Putra Shatakarni's mother is Gautami Balashri and father is Shivaswati. So this is the common hierarchy, guys, which I am going to follow. Like if you are having a dash over here like next to Simukha, then it means that they are brothers. If you see a down arrow, it means they're successors. If you are seeing nothing, just the brackets, then it is Gautami Balashri. If you are having square brackets, it means that it's a brother along with like this. So Gautami Balashri, how will I refer is in this way. So I'm going to refer in this way. Simple thing you have to remember is, if I am putting something like this, it indicates that it is a male. If I am putting something in between this, it means that it is a female. This is the common hierarchy that I am going to follow. And down represents the sons, the successors. Okay? That's the simple understanding. Let's move forward. Yeah, the coins which were found and that belongs to Shatavahanas, we are going to look into. First is, we have found the coins in copper. CO is copper, PB is lead, SN is tin and AG is silver. Okay, we have found the coins in all these metals, and only one ruler, he has actually given the coin in silver. The places where these coins were found is in Medak district, it is Kondapur. In Karimnagar, it is Peddabankuru, Dhulikatta and Kotilingala. Right? In Kotilingala, that is in Karimnagar, we have found coins which were engraved as Siri Chimukha Sata. Siri Chimukha Sata. So these coins, what the name means was actually a question at that time. So at that time, what happened, Dr. P.V. Parabrahma Shastri, he was an archaeologist, made studies on this coin, and he finally made the discovery that this is nothing but it means Simukha. Right? Simukha. Simukha is the founder of Shatavahanas. So Siri Chimukha. Chimukha actually means Simukha, and Sata was actually the name of his father. So he named the dynasty after the name of his father, that is Shatavahanas. Right? So this was the discovery of P.V. Brahma Shastri. And V.V. Krishna Shastri, he actually researched on Dhulikatta. Dhulikatta is actually a fort in Karimnagar. So he made research and he studied the walls of Dhulikatta. and he told that Dhulikatta is one of the 30 forts mentioned by Megasthenes in his book Indica. Indica we know, right? Indica is the book written by the foreign traveler Megasthenes in the court of Chandragupta Maurya. And next, the coins of King Shatakarni were found at Pratishtanpur. In Pratishtanpur, there were few coins which were unique and they had the figure of Shatakarni. What people say is during Shatakarni's ruling period, there was his contemporary called Nahapana. He was a Saka king. So he was actually, they were in conflict, the Sakas and the Shatakarnis. He stopped the silver coinage of Nahapana. Whatever Nahapana used to give the silver, he actually stopped that and he gave his own silver coins with his name or his figure on it. So those are the coins of Shatakarni found at Pratishtanpur, which is the ancient capital city of Shatavahanas. So with all these discoveries, what we can say that Kotilingala, in Kotilingala, whatever the coins we have found, it clearly says that Telangana was the home of Shatavahanas, right? This makes it very evident because you see the coins whichever we found, it was almost covering the Telangana area. Next, let's go to the literary sources. Coming to literary sources, the first literary sources talking about Purana, we refer to the Matsya and the Vayu Puranas. In this also we have found the traces of Shatavahanas, their coming into existence. So as per these Puranas, there is a story saying that there was a king called Susharma. He is a Kanva king. Kanva will not come anywhere in any of the dynasties. Just remember it as a story that there was a king called Susharma and he was the Kanva king. He was actually the last Kanva king and he was killed by the Andhra king Simukha. But the evidences are not very correctly put. It does not tell very clearly and the information is not just enough. The second one, the source we have is Katha Saritasagara, Brihat Katha of Gunadhya. Actually, it is taken from the Brihat Katha of Gunadhya. Gunadhya is a poet. He used to stay in Kuntala Shatakarni's court. But what happened was Gunadhya, he has written Brihat Katha in Paisachi dialect. At that time, Sanskrit was very, very famous. Everyone used to like Sanskrit language. They used to adore Sanskrit language. But Kuntala Shatakarni, being the king, he didn't knew much about Sanskrit. Whereas his queens were very much like they used to know everything in Sanskrit and they used to speak fluently. He used to feel envy of this and he did not like the book written by Gunadhya, which is in Paisachi dialect. He destructed the book. After this, whatever the remains were there, those became the source for Katha Saritasagara. The next source we are going to look into is the Gargi Samhita Saptasati. This is the book written by Hala. Hala is again one of the kings of Shatavahanas dynasty. He being a king, he was a great lover of arts and he used to write his own books, right? And he has written Gargi Samhita Saptasati. This is one of the literary source. Then we have Kama Sutra written by Vatsyayana. And then we have Leelavati. It actually tells the love story of Hala and Leelavati. Then we have Buddhist works like the Jatakas, the Pitakas, the Mahavatsu, the Kathavatsu, and Jain literature. Foreign works mainly Indica and the Periplus of the Etrian Sea. The author is not known, but he is a Greek author, right? Main things which are going to focus is Matsya and Vayu Puranas, Katha Saritasagara, very, very important. We have been looking into this right from the era before Shatavahanas, correct? And Hala's Gargi Samhita Saptasati is also important because Hala was one of the Shatavahana kings. And yeah, that's it. Leelavati also, you can remember at times they ask in the exams saying that what was the love story of Hala and Leelavati called? It is Leelavati, right? But mainly it is Indica, the foreign works, and the periplex of Erythraean Sea. These two are very, very important. We have to remember this at any cost. So with this, friends, we have finished the sources of Shatavahanas. This consists of coins, literary sources, and the inscriptions. We have known the Shatavahanas, the territory, that is its empire, correct? Tomorrow we are going to study about the controversy which happened on the original home of Shatavahanas. Okay, with this, I take leave of you guys. If you like our videos, please do like, share and subscribe. Please comment me your reviews so that we can make the videos better, and we can give you resources, the PDFs if you want. You can please inbox us or message us. Please do like, share and subscribe to my TSPSC preparation. Bye bye.